This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne app.
Right now on 1480 KRAE, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 KRAE. And welcome to day 2 of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti along with Nick Proietti, and we get a chance to keep it on the local side as we start things off this morning. Get to talk about girls fast pitch, season 3 for East, Central, and South, and we will head to Cheyenne Central and talk with head coach Carrie Barker. Coach, good to have you back on the program with us and get a chance to talk girls fast pitch. I guess as we enter season 3, are we seeing the numbers beginning to climb? You know, obviously you had the initial year 3 seasons ago. Are we seeing more and more young ladies coming out for fast pitch?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We are steadily growing. This year we have about 34 girls out and quite a few new ones again this year. So we can have a full varsity and JV again, so it's becoming more and more popular.
You know, Carrie, Mother Nature in our part of the world, again, you know, springtime fast pitch has been just under some really adverse weather conditions. But as you get ready for the season, how much outdoor time have you been allowed, and how much is being indoors? Because obviously, again, when you got snow on the ground, you can't get too much accomplished outside.
Yeah, we've been out a few times, which has been nice. It's been cold and windy, but we haven't had as much snow on the ground. So we've been out, about 5 times now, and then we've been able to hit inside, which is nice. So it is rough to be inside when we have to be in the gym because it's just a different atmosphere and not as much space. But we have been able to be outside a little bit so far.
Coach, as we know, again, this past weekend there was at least set to be at least a Cheyenne Invitational that did get postponed or at least ultimately canceled. Again, as we know, this winter's been a little bit tougher than years past. Again, a lot more snow and, again, a lot more frigid temperatures out here. But does it pose any concern for this upcoming season as, again, we know that springtime, especially in this state, is when we get the heaviest snow. And if we go off of basis of this winter, that expect that for March, April, possibly May, that we might have more at least big-time, at least weather systems here in Cheyenne. But does that pose a concern for this upcoming season?
I mean, always. We always have to fight with weather, and, you know, it's just a matter of the days that are nice. We have to reschedule games, looking at the weather, what is predicted. I mean, this weekend we were supposed to be in Gillette, but now we moved games to tomorrow and Friday here in Cheyenne because our weather is supposed to be nicer, and Saturday's not supposed to be great. So we just have to cope with it. Sometimes we play 3 or 4 games in a week instead of 1 or 2 teams, and so it's just part of the fun of spring weather and spring softball.
Coach, as we look back to last season very quickly, again, 19-9-1, again, the tie, 8-4 in conference, finish runner-up behind that Thunder Basin team that eventually won the state championship. But let's look back, 2022, give your thoughts on how the Lady Indians of Cheyenne Central performed for you, Coach.
I think another great season for us. Obviously, runner-up is not really what we wanted again, but it's last season we had to work really, really hard for that runner-up. We had to come up through the losers bracket and beat a tough Campbell County team, and we did that. And then Thunder Basin, we were, already 2 games in, and that third game against Thunder we were tired, and our girls still put forth tons of effort. Pitching was still there. Thunder Basin is a good hitting team, and so, but I'm always proud of the effort and attitude that those girls put forward, and not the outcome that we wanted, but we worked really hard for that runner-up, and I'll always take that. So.
You know, Carrie, pitching and catching are always very key. You got to have that. You got to have that good arm, especially on the mound for you, and a good backstop. But again, you know, when you are relegated to do a lot of inside practicing, and again, with girls fast pitch, no different than baseball. Fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals. How much fundamental work can you do inside a gymnasium? Because again, you can't get that feel of hitting fly balls to the outfield or hitting, you know, hard choppers to the infield. How much of a restriction is that being indoors?
I mean, there's a little bit. Definitely, there's restrictions for outfield work, but for infield work, we can do a lot of footwork and you know, fundamentals with that, and we really focus on being able to get good throwing and catching, and we can do pitching inside. So we do that a lot. We do work a lot on our mental aspect of the game when we're inside, and working on those situations and plays and things when we're inside. So we try to make our inside practices as productive as possible. So, yeah, the support outfielders don't get as much with seeing fly balls come, but they get to work on their footwork and their reps and their drop steps, things like that. So we try to make it as productive as possible.
Coach, looking at the preseason polls here for this upcoming season, Central finds themselves as the number 3 team according to YO Preps. East just behind you at number 4. But again, in the top 5 right now, it's all Eastern Conference teams. So, again, similar to football, similar to basketball, it seems like Eastern Conference, at least softball, is pretty at least heavy on the talent with a lot of these teams. But let's size up this upcoming season of, you know, Thunder is the defending champs, but is there a West team that you have your eye on, or who's kind of the heavy favorites early on out of the gates, Coach?
Definitely Thunder. They have a lot of returning players from last year, so that's going to be, you know, they deserve that number 1 right now because they do. They have a good team coming back, and then Campbell, of course, is always going to be tough with what they have. They have Avery Gray as their ace pitcher, and she has quite the nasty rise ball that gets people. So that's always going to be kind of our number 2. And then, of course, our crosstown rivals, East, has some great players there, so and quite a few returning there too. So I think those are going to be our top 3 in our East Conference that we're going to be looking at and planning for.
You know, thanks to the extreme Wyco last year, and again the rise in participation during our summer program for recreation softball. Are you seeing a lot of the kids coming in pretty much now? You don't have to, you know, catch the ball, throw the ball, that type of deal. I mean, it's just basically now teach them your philosophy and let's put them out on the field.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot more of that. I mean, we still have some girls that are still coming out as never played really before or haven't played since they were young, you know, since they were 10 or so. So, you know, just kind of dusting off those fundamentals for them and breaking it down. But we're seeing a lot more that come in with a lot more experience. And I think we're going to continue to see that with the next freshmen and seventh graders now, 8th graders next year, classes coming in. So it's a growing sport, really nationwide when you look at it. So
let's talk. You know, unfortunately, graduation always hits every team, and again, you know, you part with some wonderful seniors. But let's talk about this year's makeup. You got some veterans coming back and at key positions. So you know, on paper, yeah, the Lady Indians again are going to be very competitive on the field.
Yeah, we will for sure. I mean, we lost some big seniors. When you lose, you know, the Gatorade Player of the Year, that kind of hurts sometimes. But we have Cameron Moite is a junior, and she's been a starter for us for 3 years since she was a freshman. So she's going to be back, and she's going to move over to shortstop and be a good leader there. We have Katie Hines coming back, who was our ace left-handed pitcher. So she's going to be a huge asset. We've got 2 great catchers with Maddie Burt and Gabby Yoakum that have experience behind the plate. Izzy Kelly will be back in center field for us, who's fast. And then we have a couple more sophomores, Bailey Martinez and Izzy Thomas, that will be in the outfield that brings speed to us and those kinds of things that have experience playing softball since they were little. So we lost a few, but we also have some freshmen that are going to be stepping up that are sophomores now, that are going to be big ones to watch for sure. So it's going to be maybe less of our big hitters, but we make up in speed this year.
Well, and the nice thing too, you've been at this for the inaugural season all the way, here into season 3. Talk about your staff and talk about what you guys add to teaching these young ladies into becoming, again, very prolific fast pitch players.
Yeah, so Chris Polton is my assistant coach, and then I have some great volunteer coaches with Chase Tavelli and Heath Erickson and Maria Kelly, and all that have great backgrounds with softball and collegiate experience. And so, but Chris and I we work really well together, and we're very key on the fundamentals and teaching the game to the girls, and also making sure that they learn not just about softball, but we're really big advocates of teaching them how that sports can really transfer to after high school, whether you go on to play, but you can learn so much from softball and sports and other aspects of your life. So that's a huge thing for us. But we're real big on, Chris is my stats guy. He looks at the video. He helps us out there to plan for teams. So got a good one with that guy.
Final thought from me, and Coach, we want to thank you for joining us. With the addition of a women's fast pitch at the high school level, and again, as we move into season 3, and we know we've had the club teams where they would get some looks, from collegiate coaches, but has the high school programs, and again, we're not all high schools have women's fast pitch, but are you noticing more collegiate eyes coming to your particular teams?
Yes, we're really big on, if that's what the girls want to do, then we're going to help them as much as we can. So we helped Brogan and Taylor get to what the next collegiate level that they wanted to get to last year, and we help them make videos. We reach out to the coaches and things for them. We have coaches reach out to us. We've had a few more coaches come to the state tournament now to watch girls. So it's definitely, we're there to help them, and you can see that these collegiate coaches are trying to find some high school girls, because it's a little different when they play high school ball to summer ball. Talking to college coaches, they like them to play the 7 innings and get used to that instead of an hour 15 game. So we're definitely seeing that more.
All righty, Carrie. Well, we wish you and the Lady Indians all the best this season, and fingers crossed that Mother Nature kind of cooperates a little bit this season for your Lady Indians as well. All righty.
Guys, always.
Take care. Carrie Barker, head coach of the Cheyenne Central Lady Indians. We're also going to be talking with Cheyenne East and Cheyenne South as well. So we have Coach Galicia and Coach Quigley joining us here on the program for today. So a little insight to what's going on with the Lady Indians, because again, and it's interesting too, because again, you have Coach Galicia, who is the head coach of the Cheyenne Extreme. Correct me if I'm wrong, Coach Polton with Cheyenne Central heads up the WICO program, right?
Yeah, you're correct on that one. So, yeah, again, 2 summer leagues, at least now, again, competitive teams here in the city of Cheyenne. So as it grows, it does come along with the territory. So, absolutely, again, softball, as it moves forward, again, here, 3rd season with high school ranks. Again, right now, weather, be interested to see how much softball is able to get played this season. Again, as Coach Barker, and again, I alluded to it yesterday, that, again, softball, at least for this weekend, moved from Gillette down here to Cheyenne just for weather favorability, which, again, is not all, at least looking at the forecast, not all that great. So either way, though, it's something that hopefully the season goes underway with not a whole lot of, at least, bumps in the road, but we shall see, especially just going hand in hand with at least winter time that we've seen so far here in the state.
All right, we are going to take a break. We will be back with more of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. Back after these words on 1480 K-Ray.
Hop into the K-Ray Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who've captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 K-Ray, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480kray.com.
Now that the colder weather is upon us, it's more important than ever to make sure that your brakes on your vehicle are operating at 100%. So if you noticed a grinding or squeaky noise every time you brake, then it's high time you stop into the Brake Stop at 1622 East Lincoln Way, where Wayne and his crew will fit your car or truck with the best brakes to go along with best service and the best price. Wherever your travels take you, and whatever weather conditions Mother Nature throws at you, you can always feel confident that the brakes on your vehicle came from the Brake Stop. Call 307-514-6231 or drop by to 1622 East Lincoln Way in Cheyenne. MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
In the 1960s, Bruce Lee said, "Be water, my friend." The meaning of that advice has been debated ever since. Here at First Tier Bank, we believe he meant that preserving your liquid assets in a high-yield money market account can get you a decent yield on your funds while maintaining your liquidity in choppy financial markets. We've got some of the best money market rates around, and we'd like to invite you to be water and make your liquid assets work for you. Stop by or call First Tier Bank today with 2 locations to serve you at 1508 Stillwater Avenue and 1800 Carrie Avenue in downtown Cheyenne, or check us out at firsttierbanks.com. First Tier Banks, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for rain and snow mix. Breezy conditions, expected daytime high near 45. For tonight, partly cloudy with a slight chance of snow during the evening hours. Breezy conditions are low down to 23. And for tomorrow, Thursday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 47. Oh, we go from the north side to the south side as we get a chance to talk more softball. This time, South High head coach Curtis Quigley joined us here in, again, 3rd season for Coach Quigley and his Lady Bison. Going to come right out of the box, ask you the same thing I asked Carrie. Again, and let's throw out records. I don't really give 2 hoots about the records. The young ladies are coming out. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing them with a little more experience? They know the game of softball. I'm sure you still are getting some beginners out there, but are you seeing more experienced ladies coming out for fast pitch?
Yep, and that was our first agenda that first year, was to get into the junior highs and promote kids getting into rec and getting part of softball in some form. And I think this year we're starting to see those kids saying, hey, softball is that high school opportunity for me now, and I'm going to invest time. And I can see it this year. We got more freshmen that are saying, hey, you could compete for some legitimate playing time now.
Let's at least very quickly on top again, where we look at a skill level again, where we talked with you a couple of years ago, Coach, saying, "Hey, I got a fresh batch, and again, I got to start from kind of ground zero." But again, numbers also too at Cheyenne South are always kind of the question mark as well too. Where we see Wyco, we see Extreme, we start to see the city teams start to at least get teams filled up more and more, and we're adding more as the years go by. But for Cheyenne South, this season, as we head in, are we seeing a growth in numbers, thankfully?
Yeah, we had that first good year where we had a lot of seniors top heavy, and then last year we dropped. I think that this year we're back up in the mid-30s. We were pushing 40 for a long time, and some kids fall off, and that happens. But we're sitting mid-30 with a good varsity and a good JV squad, and we're going to be able to do some more things this year.
The things that got to be frustrating as a coach is weather. Mm-hmm. And you can't get out as often as you can. Again, I've gone by the junior league fields. I've seen some teams out there working out. But for the most part, when it's 30, 40-mile-an-hour wind, kind of defeats a lot of the purpose. And then again, too, you've got some good facilities indoors over at Cheyenne South to do some work in. But, again, from a coaching standpoint, it's got to be a little frustrating just the way things are. Mother Nature has kind of thrown you more wiffle balls than anything.
Yeah, so I've mentioned it a couple times, like, hey, we just get curveballs thrown, we're going to sit and hit it. Most of the girls don't understand that, but we do. We just have to be flexible. We have to roll with it and just handle each speed bump as we get there. Like, obviously we want to be on the field, practice as much as we can. You get 40 degrees or lower, we can't be out there. The girls are miserable. What are you really getting out of, like, forcing being out there? And we've done it a couple times in the past where it's like, hey, we've got a game this week. We need to get at least one day on the field and work on maybe this concept we're struggling with. And but it is brutal. Like, it's tough when you get the wind going, especially like you're 40 degrees with no wind. Right now, that's a beautiful day. But even yesterday was a nice day for us, and that wind kind of died down about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, we got a lot of work done.
Yeah, that wind chill adding about a -10 on top of that temperature, so again, does play a factor. But, again, you talk about being flexible where, again, we already saw at least invitational have to be moved around. Again, we see games being shifted from one city to another just due to, again, weather. Again, for softball, and again, obviously here we are in year 3, and we've had other, events or weather patterns happen here in the state that have altered, again, games for the past couple seasons. But how flexible is this schedule for softball if, again, we look towards this past winter where, again, it was heavy, it was very cold, and, again, we saw even basketball have to get altered a couple times just due to, again, the nature of events here in the state. But, again, for softball, how flexible is that schedule to shift, again, locations or dates for these teams?
I think we're learning to be very aggressive early in the season to play games when you can. It is flexible. Like, I think we're pretty consistent with most of our games being tail end of the week, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leaving like a lot of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays opened up. So looking at even Saturday this week with Laramie, we're probably looking at moving that game to next week sometime. And what's good is because I'm only really booked on the tail end of the week. I've got a few days early in the week to play with. So there is flexibility, and like I said, we've learned that early in the year we need to be as aggressive as possible to play those games because we don't control what happens later on. So
let's talk about strengths and weaknesses. So again, you have some veterans coming back mixed in with some youth. We'll put that in. So let's talk about what you like thus far as a strength on the team and things that definitely still have to be put on the blackboard that we got to work on.
I would say the biggest strength for our team right now is our youth. I think we have a good core of young kids, and we have a couple of those leaders, and I'll use the name Albaugh, Alyssa Albaugh, who's been a centerpiece for our team the past couple of years, who's kind of showing these kids the way. And so they're going to learn it. They're going to learn the game, how Alyssa Albaugh plays the game, and I love how she plays the game. She's super aggressive at every facet of the game, and that's what we want our kids to learn from. So they're seeing that. They're seeing it being exemplified in practice, and we get to build and hopefully prevent some of those bad habits from coming in. That I think the one that's hurt us probably the most is that timid approach, and they're going to see and be coached from day one from us. We want you aggressive. We want you attacking, and I've kind of been telling the girls a lot this year is that if you, as a dog, if you bite, I can teach you not to bite. But if you don't bite, it's hard for me to teach you to bite. And so these kids are learning right away. We're going to go bite. We're going to attack. We're going to fail going 100 miles per hour. And then we'll, as our coaching staff, we'll pull them back and get them where we don't want them at.
Coach, how available are camps for your athletes in the off season? Where again we look to the University of Wyoming, for instance. Again, softball does not exist. JUCOs around our area do have programs out there, but again, they're not going to be holding a whole lot of camps. But is there opportunities for, as we see with football, with basketball, to attend some of these D1, D3, whatever off-season programs? Is that available to us here in town?
I know our staff, we looked at the MSUB camp up in Billings, Montana for this last year. The issue we run into is kind of once spring sports are over and summer hits, a lot of those gears turn to fall sports. And I've got a few volleyball players, so I was going to be missing a big core of my team. So I think this year our big goal is just kind of get some of those girls that are sticking around or not on a club team, maybe trying to get them into a tournament or two, Northern Colorado up here. And if, I've got a good core of kids that want to go to a camp and go up to like MSUB or maybe down in somewhere in Nebraska, somewhere that's not too expensive, too far travel, we might look at that.
How much is for South? Again, we know that you are kind of that feeder program for Eastern Laramie County, for Burns, for Pine Bluffs as well too. But again, we see the growth here in town, which again has contributed to all three of our high schools, and again for the summertime programs. But are we starting to see that enthusiasm from Eastern Laramie County that does feed into Cheyenne South?
Yep, I've added. So last year I only had one girl from Burns. I've got 3 from Burns this year, so that one's slowly growing. 1 from Pine as well. And then I've got 4 total from Torrington this year. So we should have had 5. We got 1. It was a freshman, basketball, a little burnt out, and decided not to last minute. But it sounds like even there it's growing. And kind of my vision even for Torrington, as much as it would hurt us, is to help them grow that interest in that community there, so that maybe one day they get high school sport or high school softball there.
It's interesting. I'm glad Nick asked that question, because as a coach, you need all the bodies there to put everything into play. How tough is it for those young ladies, whether it is Eastern Laramie County, Torrington, come on down, or do you set up separate programs for them in their areas where they don't have to be on the road all the time?
Yeah, and there's a couple dynamics with that too when you think about timing of the school release for Burns and Pines a little bit later. So they're good. They want to be here every day. Even the Torrington girls want to be here every day, and we do our best to minimize that. We don't want them traveling when the roads are bad and conditions like that. Torrington's had a young lady kind of volunteer with them, and she actually drives a Suburban down and is bringing the kids when they can. We kind of have, I kind of call like team concept days and individual days. When we have team concepts, I want them down here. When it's individual practice days and we're focusing on individual skills, they stay in Torrington, they work there. So yeah, we've got the flexibility for both, but we try and maximize what we can when the weather's nice, and so it's always like it's a rolling dynamic schedule, I guess, where we're this week, yeah, you're here. Next week, nope, you're not at all.
And it sounds like the enthusiasm, hearing in your voice, and again with the amount of young ladies that are coming out participating in girls fast pitch, and they're not just out there just to take up space on the field. Mm-hmm. They're out to be competitive. We know over at South that the sports have taken their lumps. Mm-hmm. And again, you look at your 3rd season as the head coach, obviously you're expecting a little bit more. And again, you're going up against competitive teams like Central, East, Laramie, the Thunders, and the Campbell counties. Tell us a little bit the competitiveness of this team this season that you expect on the field.
I wouldn't expect results similar to last year, where it was getting 10 run within the first few innings, where I think this team's going to have the ability to be competitive longer throughout a game. Depth and things of that nature will, it always is going to be a challenge, and depending on eligibility.
It also comes from the mound, too. Yeah. You got to have a qualified hurler.
We're building there, and I think that's what really hurt us last year was obviously the pitching position, and we're young. We've got a lot of girls learning how to pitch with some pitching background as well, so we're not starting from ground one or from step one, and so we'll be there, we'll be competitive, and I think as the season goes on, we'll get more competitive. Especially as some of those younger pitchers get more confident on the mound, and it'll be good.
Again, for you, Coach, you kind of join the ranks of, again, whether it's basketball, girls or boys, or again with Eli Moody with football, where again Eastern Conference, again, it doesn't seem to matter what sport it is here in the state. It just seems like this eastern side of this state is just very heavily talented. Again, we look at the media polls, the Wild Preps polls. Again, Thunder, Campbell County, East, Central, Laramie, all in the top 5 right now. Again, a few others. The West's not getting a whole lot of love outside of Cody, but again, that's got to be a growing concern that the Eastern Conference is got a lot of heavy teams, a lot of heavy talent right now to get over.
And I think that makes practice for us that much more important because you don't get to just slip in being an okay team at 5, being 5th ranked, and you could be the better team, the 5th best team, and not make it. And you look at what happened to East last year; they were definitely a top 3 team in my books. They had a couple tough losses, and they don't make state. And that's brutal, and that's what is tough about it. And I think the direction we're looking at as the coaches in Wyoming on how we advance and get out of that stigma a little bit, we're trying to push and maybe get a different scenario built for state and how we select those teams and how conferences look, because it has been a trend for the past, 5-10 years in majority of your sports that it has been very one-sided in the conferences.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned with the Trailblazers in Torrington. And again, if they get that opportunity to become a program, that's fantastic. You know, again, could be a loss in certain respects to Cheyenne South. Are you kind of shocked as I look here at our squads, both in the East and the West, like an Evanston community or a Sheridan, for example, are not part of girls fast pitch? Because I think, you know, the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it's funny, the rumor mill around teams adding and stuff like that. There was a rumor at the beginning of the year that Bighorn and Tongue River were going to co-op and make a softball team. And then obviously Sheridan's been around for a couple of years. But yeah, any of those bigger 3A schools, and it'd be interesting to look at just which communities have established club teams and have been consistent. You know, why haven't they made that push? And obviously I think the big issue is money and Title IX type issues and where schools are at. I know that was the big reason why Laramie County approved it, but you know, why is it not growing as fast? And I feel like maybe the second side of that was people wanted to see what was going to happen. Is it going to fail and flop, or is it going to grow and be consistent?
But it is growing in numbers of, again, across the board for all schools, ladies that are participating, whether they're first years or they are in summer programs or in competitive programs. I think the results are very positive right now.
So I'm hoping here in the next year or two for sure we have to start growing. I'd like to get to a spot where there's an upper conference and a lower conference, so that your bigger schools with their more established and they can have a conference, and then now these smaller schools that want to get a team but they know they're not going to be super competitive can be in, and they're not going to be thrown against Thunder Basin and just get pummeled, because we don't want that for the sports. So we've got to grow. We've got to encourage schools and communities to kind of get there. And I think that's part of, my role with those Torrington kids is how do I help that community grow and say, hey, we can support that. Because there's going to be up years and down years. And you look at even a community like Wheatland, you're going to have a couple of good years and then numbers are going to go down. It's going to happen. And how do we make sure there's a system in place that when they do have a down year, they're just not getting thumped and those kids don't want to come back out?
Want to get your thoughts, Coach, on facilities. Again, we play currently at the Cheyenne Junior League fields, and it seems like the city has been willing to kind of work with our teams and improve those facilities. I know we have new at least as Coach Galicia at least alluded to me, a broadcast area option for us here in town, or those who want to travel on down to Cheyenne. But again, it seems like the city is working to upgrade year in and year out to, again, meet our softball needs over there at these facilities. But for you, Coach, are we happy with the Junior League fields is sharing a co-op between East and Central, or is there still kind of a push in your mind's eye, or at least kind of on the wishful list of, I'd love to have, at least on the campus or nearby to South, our own kind of unique field for the season?
Oh, that's the perfect scenario. We have that big grass soccer field right to the west end of the school, and I'd love for that to be our softball area and be able to do some things there. And it's easier for practice and things of that nature. We're not traveling. It takes us 15 minutes, and with the traffic that comes out of South High School at the end of the school day, sometimes 30 minutes to get from South to the field. And it would be amazing to have that out on our campus and be able to, have our true home field that feels like home. When you travel the Junior League complex, it's your field, but it's not home. Everybody plays on it, so it's ideal situation 100%. We want our own field. We want our own facility there.
You know, we were talking with Carrie earlier, talking about the kids over at McCormick, and again, we've had Wendy on here as well, too, and the triad relationship with Johnson. Your situation, too, again, you're going over there, you're relating to the kids. Are you seeing that excitement from that upcoming 7th, 8th grade classes? Hey, we're interested. We want to play girls fast pitch.
Yeah, and I've got a coach this year that is at Johnson, and she's seeing the kids every day. She's building a good rapport with a bunch of those kids, and we actually were encouraging. We wanted 8th graders, hanging out with our open gyms and coming to get reps and working at practice with us when they can and whatever they can do. But yeah, we're doing everything in our power to make sure they know they're welcome and they're involved, and we're excited for that. I'm kind of looking at changing senior night a little bit and getting away from doing all that emotion the day before the game, and I want to make it something that's more about passing the torch to those 8th graders. That senior to 8th grader connection and that next 4-year kid. And so how do I recognize that maybe a little bit on senior night versus just this emotional ploy right before a game?
It's interesting, too. I just thought of this because I know we're getting ready to wrap things up. If you play competitive here in town, whether it's Wyco, Extreme, it's going to cost the parents a few bucks. Whether you play recreation with the city, it's going to cost you a few bucks. But to play at the school level, very minimal cost, right?
We don't charge anything for them to play. They need to get basic equipment. And most time, if they can't get it, I've already got a collection of cleats that seniors have left. I can get them fundamental equipment to play with. So yeah, you can come learn and explore and see if this is something for you for pretty much nothing. And all of a sudden you go, I like this sport. Now you can start investing into nicer equipment and put time in. And so, yeah, it's a great opportunity the high school provides for kids to find out if they like it. And for me, it's not about going out and competing state championship. Can these kids take skills, find a recreational hobby or something they can do for the rest of their life to stay active, stay healthy, and go have fun with their friends?
Budgets with fast pitch, and again, you got the initial budget 3 years ago, and then you add on to the budget. When you are looking at X amount of dollars that you are given, what is that going into? Equipment, uniforms? Tell us a little bit what you have to do as a head coach to make sure this is a very good and safe program.
Yeah, this year it's going to rotate, hopefully every 2-3 years, but kind of getting a new set of jerseys every couple of years. So this year was our big push to get new uniforms. Next year will probably be to upgrade and replace broken equipment. I would like to start cycling bats a little bit more consistently and having nice team bats. With us running a varsity and a JV, it's going to put a higher demand on those bats. And running, we've only played one varsity and one JV game the past 2 years. This year we're pushing really hard to play our 2 varsity and our 2 JVs. That's going to be double the games with that many more swings on the bats. Those bats are going to break and we have to get new ones. So next year will be our big push probably for bats, getting more of your specialty equipment, whether it be like your little gloves and trainer type equipment. But so yeah, just equipment that wears and tears. Probably have to start doing nets here in the next couple of years too because the wind's brutal on them.
Yeah.
So
it's always a headache to be at the top there, isn't it, Coach?
A lot of little things.
Coach Quigley joining us from Cheyenne South. And again, all the best to his Lady Fighting Bison. Coach Curtis Quigley joining us here on 1480 K-Ray. We are going to take a timeout. We'll come back with more of the Pro Show right here on 1480 K-Ray.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. That's 800-245-3098. 3098.
For over 30 years and still delivering the results you expect is Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service. Hi, this is Larry Proietti again for Cars in downtown Cheyenne, reminding you that John and his staff are there to take care of your vehicle's woes. From oil change and replacing windshield wipers to digging deep into fixing your heating and air conditioning unit or fixing your brakes and shocks, you can depend on Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service for taking care of most minor repairs. And most importantly, John is a TechNet professional, which means he is one of the best nationally when it comes to getting your car or truck back on the road as soon as possible. Check him out online at technetprofessional.com. Don't wait until the last minute. Have your vehicle serviced by one of the best in Cheyenne. Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service at 604 West Lincoln Way. Call for an appointment at 632-0498. That's 307-632-0498. Open Monday through Friday.
Wisdom, expertise, compassion, qualities that are the foundation of Cheyenne Urological, with their experienced doctors and their highly trained staff providing top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. You can trust Cheyenne Urological to give you the highest quality urinary care. Now offering the latest in robotic surgery, call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131. That's 635-4131. When you are dealing with the Coin Shop to buy, sell, or trade your gold, silver, or other precious metals, you will be met with honesty, fairness, knowledge, and exceptional customer service. The Coin Shop has been serving Cheyenne since 1982 and is a respected member of our community. Call David today at 778-7196 to meet privately or visit during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. The Coin Shop, a dealer you can trust, 510 West 16th Street.
I'm Brandon Warner with a Silent Witness Crime of the Week. The Laramie County Sheriff's Office is seeking information related to a burglary that occurred in a 300 block of East Prosser Road. Between February 3rd and the 5th, a Connex container was broken into. A DeWalt skill saw and other tools were taken. If you have information about this or other crime, call Crime Stoppers Silent Witness at 638-TIPS or on the web at silentwitnesslaramiecounty.com. You will remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Together, we can make a difference.
In the 1960s, Bruce Lee said, "Be water, my friend." The meaning of that advice has been debated ever since. Here at First Tier Bank, we believe he meant that preserving your liquid assets in a high-yield money market account can get you a decent yield on your funds while maintaining your liquidity in choppy financial markets. We've got some of the best money market rates around, and we'd like to invite you to be water and make your liquid assets work for you. Stop by or call First Tier Bank today with 2 locations to serve you at 1508 Stillwater Avenue and 1800 Carrie Avenue in downtown Cheyenne, or check us out at firsttierbanks.com. First Tier Banks, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for rain and snow mix. Breezy conditions, expected daytime high near 45. For tonight, partly cloudy with a slight chance of snow during the evening hours. Breezy conditions are low down to 23. And for tomorrow, Thursday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 47. We'll get more softball in here in a little bit. Girls fast pitch. We'll have Adam Galicia, head coach of the East High Lady Thunderbirds, joining us here. I'd say roughly in about 15 minutes or so. You know, real quick, Nick, let's just change gears, talk football. And when I was thinking about this, you know, we'll talk about the Raiders, obviously, because I think that they're making some big news. But
yes, in the scheme of things.
Well,
but.
yeah, I think it's huge because you got to find somebody to replace Carr. Is number 10 from the Niners going to be the guy? But I was thinking right away, Tom Flores, former Raider head coach, former quarterback of the Oakland Raiders way back when. Matter of fact, he was replaced at the QB position by Darryl LaMonica. So I'm aging myself. But Tommy Flores, I do believe, having a birthday today. I do believe he's in his 80s. Early 80s or something like that, Hall of Famer, head coach, where he guided the Raiders to a couple of Super Bowls, one in Oakland, one in Los Angeles, also was part of the Kansas City Super Bowl team, Super Bowl IV back in 1969. But anyway.
Congrats to him on getting older. But
all right,
either way, let's get into
moving on to the Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders.
No, don't even, again, we can look at the AFC West in general, at least in the NFL.
Yeah, let's
I
talk
have
about the Raiders,
I have everything here in front of them. Again, at least the Raiders, they've been active. They've been one of a few teams that have been very active, but will it pay dividends at least upcoming in the season? Again, does the offseason moves right now for the Raiders vault them as the number one team in the AFC West? No, it doesn't. Especially
with Jimmy G numbers, again, they just don't jive with me what this guy is signing for.
Again, signs at least a 3-year deal, $72.75 million, includes $24.25 million in year one. So that's a contract detail right now for Jimmy G in Las Vegas. So, again, Vegas has got money. They're willing to shell it out. So, obviously, they got no other choice right now. They got to go with a proven guy. Jimmy G has proven that he can be a winner. He's led teams to, again, NFC championships, or again, eventually to the Super Bowl. Has not won one yet, but again, he's had success. He's off injured, and again, our question with him of can he get it done? Again, we'll see with Las Vegas. Does this expose of who he truly is? Where he's not going to have the same weapons. That offensive line is not the best. So we'll see. But again, the Raiders have been active. Again, Jimmy G was probably their biggest, at least, signing so far. Again, make note as well, too, did sign Marcus Epps, safety, so again, former Wyoming product. So he signed a 2-year contract with the Raiders. So again, he'll be heading out to Las Vegas. So again, that's the big move for Las Vegas so far. If we look to the AFC West, we look down, again, 100 miles to the Denver Broncos. Again, the big move for them, at least in my opinion, and they paid big money for the guy, is Mike McGlinchey, again, offensive tackle, former of the 49ers, signs a 5-year, $87.5 million deal. That is $50 million guaranteed to him. So that was the concern for the Broncos of, hey, you got to get a better offensive line. Well, it starts right there with McGlinchey. They also signed Ben Powers. He's a guard for 4 years, $52 million. So they're addressing, at least for the Broncos, they're addressing the needs
to protect Wilson.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, again, the Raiders, yes, they made the largest move with, again, picking up Jimmy G, who, again, is he one of the hottest free agents? No, he's probably one of the most talked about. But, again, talent-wise, it's there, but we'll see where he was kind of in a cushy situation with the 49ers of, again, all that talent, all that weaponry. Now with Vegas, where there's weapons there, the offensive line's probably not as staunch as, again, you had in San Francisco, but this might be a situation for Jimmy G. It might expose that, all right, this is the true guy where he's got to earn those wins. And like I said, again, the offseason moves that the Vegas Raiders have done so far doesn't make them all of a sudden a contender in the AFC.
Well, again, going back to Jimmy G, as you mentioned, the Raiders' offensive line will really be put to task because will Jimmy G make it a full season? I don't think so. Matter of fact, in his contract, oh, by the way, he's got $34.2 million guaranteed. So some of these numbers that are being thrown out. Now, McGlinchey, he hasn't been as, again, he gets beat up as an offensive tackle, but he has been dependable for the 49ers. And now as he moves over to the Broncos situation, yeah, I think the Broncos are going to get their money's worth out of him.
Yeah.
Again,
he runs into injury as well, too. He's not as often injured as a Jimmy G, for instance, with San Francisco. But, again, he did have injuries. But he's a solid talent. He's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, he's a Pro Bowler,
He's a guy that bolsters that line for the Denver Broncos. So, again, this is a huge sign. I think that's a more impressive and big signing out of the AFC West is for the Broncos picking up him.
He's a good veteran talent. And, again, he is going to protect the blind side of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And that's and
again, Russell Wilson, who again still doesn't pass the litmus test for him. I still think he's a shell of himself as much as he's got at least an improving line right now to protect him. I still think Russell Wilson is not the guy to lead the Broncos to the promised land, but again, we shall see. Again, that's just in the AFC West, as again, there have been many big names moving around. It's been a very active offseason. Again, the reports out of New York with the Jets that, again, it's not official, but Aaron Rodgers has basically come out and said, yeah, I'm going to be a Jet. some way, somehow, I'm out of Green Bay, this is going to happen. So we'll see if that kind of flourishes. I mentioned a little bit yesterday, alluded to, looking out of the NFC North with the Chicago Bears. They, as we all thought, and I at least kind of talked about that number one pick was not going to stay with Chicago. They finally traded away. They picked up DJ Moore. That helps out Chicago in a big way where, again, they're looking for offensive weapons. So they got one from Carolina. So Carolina gets the number one overall pick. For Chicago, they get the number 9 pick, at least upcoming in the draft. So I think for Chicago, you came out big in that one, picking up at least a star wide receiver. And again, you're still in the top 10 to pick up whatever else needs you want, at least for the Chicago Bears.
But the Bears also showed Fields as their quarterback.
Yeah. I think we've known that. I think Chicago's known that.
And the future. So, and again, Chicago, you might as well get something for that number 1 pick, and I think they did. I don't think they got a bad little deal. I think they get some draft choices out of that as well, too, for trading that number 1. So, you look at what the Bears did, I think it's okay. And again,
looking at very quickly the picks that Chicago received from Carolina. Again, they got the number 9 upcoming in the draft. They got the second rounder of the 2023 draft. So again, it was number 61, and then a first rounder in the 24 draft, second rounder in the 25. So again, they got Chicago got
good
a lot.
Stuff. Yeah. So finally, the McCaskey family made a good deal. They haven't been too bright on making deals.
I think things are bright right now for the Chicago Bears, where, again, it might be bleak, or it seemed bleak for the past couple of years. But, again, think about it for Chicago, where, again, your arch rival of Aaron Rodgers is now leaving that franchise. Again, kind of leaves Green Bay in an island, and they've been dominating that North along with Minnesota. But, again, for Chicago, that you have – it seems like your franchise quarterback. You now got weapons for him to at least target now. And also, too, we're talking about a franchise that's now looking to get out of Soldier Field, as we're seeing those renditions of, again, that Arlington Heights project of, again, a brand new indoor facility for the Chicago Bears. So it seems like it's a franchise that has gone through some kind of tough black times, but, it's something that now for Chicago, like, there's kind of hope on the horizon for them.
But an interesting path for Aaron Rodgers, following in the footsteps of the man he replaced, Brett Favre. Because, again, when Brett Favre left the Packers, he went to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
And then from the Jets, he went to the Vikings, and then he retired. So is Aaron Rodgers taking that same type of path? Again, I don't know. And, again, I like Saleh, the head coach. Don't get me wrong. I wish he still was with the 49ers. He was a great defensive mind. I don't see Rodgers going to the New York Jets, and they're going to be a slam dunk. Hey, put us in contention in the AFC East. It's not going to happen.
I mean, they improved this season.
They were okay.
They improved this season compared to years past. So again, Aaron Rodgers definitely helps out, but
you still have Miami
see.
and Buffalo. You got to continue.
Miami again. As much as they got Jalen Ramsey and they've made some offseason moves, but again, Miami still was that was a trash fire at the end of the season, and Miami was a complete joke. And so far, again, I don't think they are contenders right now in that NFC, or at least AFC North. Buffalo is the heavy favorite. Clearly, the Patriots, who knows, with Mac Jones and that whole situation. But
you never could count them out.
But I'm just saying that, again, it's a competitive division that I think the Jets, if they are to land Rodgers, as it seems like it's going to be, I think it kind of puts them in a conversation of, okay, maybe they flirt with a possibility with the Buffalo Bills, but I don't think it vaults them to, again, the perennial powerhouse in the AFC North. So we shall see. Again, looking at other teams very quickly as we're near the top of the hour, team that's been very active, and again, they had a lot of cap space, again, with a new head coach, is the Houston Texans. They have gone wild, picking up and signing up new entities, whether it's Case Keenum. We know from the 49ers they picked up to Jimmy Ward, who was phenomenal in the backfield. They've been very active of signing folks and some names out there. Interested to see how this new look Texans team, again, Case Keenum, he signed a deal with them. Are the Texans competitive in the AFC South? No, but again, it's going to take some time, but these offseason moves have been very intriguing. They have been very active out there in Houston.
Well, and the Niners also have been active too. In addition to losing.
Yes and no.
To losing, but again,
is Sam Darnold signing him moving the needle? No.
No, but it's a quality backup. Am I right?
Yeah.
Again, it's a veteran backup. And again, too, the
He
Niners
really hasn't done anything in his career. Again, he sat 1 year out because of mono.
I would think the Niners are going to, again, just like how they brought over the running back from Carolina. You know, again,
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, McCaffrey.
There
When
you
they
go.
brought him over, that's what the Niners do. And again, you know, you look at Lynch. Lynch basically has taken all the power away from the Yorks. He's got the checkbook. He knows what to do.
We know, and again, the 49ers as well, too, regarding cap space, or at least kind of avoiding the luxury tax. They got a lot of money to spend as well, too, so who knows if they're done spending or what they will do, especially coming draft day.
They freed up $27 million by getting rid of that knucklehead Garoppolo.
Yeah, so they got a lot of money to spend, and again, they have been spending, again, picking up Javon Hargrave from the Philadelphia Eagles, 4-year deal.
And you know he's going to be, he's adding a lot to
for
that
for a last year #1 defense, you know, for the 49ers. It just gets even better when you pick up Hargrave. Again, you do lose some pieces as they did, again, in the backfield, but it certainly seemed like they are replaceable, especially with being exposed in that NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. So, again, Niners, we'll see what they're able to do. Speaking of former Wyoming, at least products, Deshaun Gibson did re-sign with the 49ers for a 1-year deal. So, again, he's back with San Francisco. So, again, the only notable for the 49ers who, again, are in that mode of they want to get to a Super Bowl, want to win one. Again, your only big name signing was Sam Darnold, who is going to be a backup. And again,
probably third string.
Who knows right now with Trey Lance? Or what's the injury update? You know, with at least with the main guy, with Brock Purdy. Yeah, it's right now. Will he have to start a few games? As again, we try to figure out this QB carousel right now, or at least QB injury carousel out in San Francisco. So, but again, Sam Darnold as the big name, and again, Javon Hargrave to bolster that defense, which is already the best in the NFL, just makes it even more better with adding him on.
All right. We are going to take a break, come back with hour number 2 of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. Back after these words on 1480 K-Ray.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
17 years in the community and still striving to offer you the best value in a new vehicle. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne. Take a look at the new 2023 Kia Sorento. With the 2023 Kia Sorento, you have a choice of 3 models, 8 different trims, and 4 different all-weather drive modes. Some available features include 281 horsepower, 20-inch wheels, remote start, and climate control. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 K-Ray AM, are just that, local, serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 K-Ray.
Cheyenne Frontier Days, the daddy of them all, welcomes country music superstar Eric Church opening night with special guest Paul Cauthen. Next up, Old Dominion with Chase Rice. Country music sensation Zach Bryan. Five Finger Death Punch with special guest Papa Roach. Country legend Tim McGraw with special guest Kip Moore. John Party with special guest Carly Pierce. And the king of cowboy country music, Cody Johnson, with special guest Whiskey Myers. Tickets on sale now at cfdrodeo.com. Sun up to sundown. It's the party of the summer. We'll see you in Cheyenne.
Cowboy football fans, season tickets are on sale now for the 2023 season. The season schedule features the home opener against Texas Tech, along with conference matchups against Colorado State, Fresno State, New Mexico, and Hawaii. Season tickets start at just $170, so don't miss any of the action as the Cowboys return to War Memorial Stadium this fall. Renew or purchase your season tickets today at gowio.com/tickets or call 307-766-7220.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Sweetie, want some fruit? You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for rain and snow mix. Breezy conditions, expected daytime high near 45. For tonight, partly cloudy with a slight chance of snow during the evening hours. Breezy conditions are low down to 23. And for tomorrow, Thursday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 47. Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti. We bring on a good friend of ours, head coach of the Cheyenne East Lady Thunderbirds, Adam Galicia, again also head coach of the Extreme 18 and Under program. You know, Coach, as I'm mentioning both of those programs, how different? And again, I know coaching, you know, you got the vision of what you want to see on the field in both respects, high school as well as the Extreme. And the Extreme is, as far as I'm concerned, the best of the best that you have. But high school, it's a mixture of young ladies that are playing fast pitch. Tell me a little bit, how different is your style of coaching, or is it basically the same in both programs?
We've tried to, as far as style of coaching, we've tried to keep it pretty similar for our varsity level. Obviously, this year again, last year, as I told you guys, I think we had 5 girls that had never touched softball before. This year we're in the same boat again with our freshman class. We have a number of girls that really, this is their first exposure to any type of competitive softball. So for our varsity level, you know, we've been pretty fortunate. This year we're pretty solid 1 through 12 that we're able to continue the type of drills, the type of skills that we do during our club ball season with our varsity team. With our JV players, you know, we got to take a step back. You know, we got to be more basic. We got to teach them more of the fundamentals. We got a pretty good coaching, you know, a bigger coaching staff this year. We got 7 coaches total. You know, a lot of them are volunteer that are able to help out, and so we're able to get those younger girls a little more one-on-one time to help develop those skills. they're going to need to play at a little bit higher level.
You know, when you talk about young ladies that are playing for the first time, so not so much like Scotty Smalls where he's got the plastic glove in the sandlot. They come to you with the glove. Do they know how to throw the ball? Do they know how to catch the ball? Do they know how to hit the ball? Do you have to throw all three of these things in those type of practices?
Yeah, we break up different days or different skills and drills, offense, defense, that type of stuff. But yeah, we literally have 2 girls this year on our freshman class that, I mean, when I say have never touched a softball, they literally have never touched a softball or a baseball. And so throwing, catching, basically, the really thing we try to coach them is footwork. Footwork is the key to everything. And so it's a we really got to break it down.
Let me ask the dumb question: why do they want to come out for softball, fast pitch?
Yeah, honestly, that's a good question because we do ask them that, and and they see things that some of them read the newspapers. They see what some of the local girls are doing, and and they're the girls that are 2-3 years ahead of them, and they're they know that going through the high school program, club ball, it costs you money to play, and so at least coming through the high school programs, you have more of opportunity with minimal costs. So it's our opportunity to try it, give it a shot, and see what comes of it.
But for you, Coach, it's also got to be exciting as much as, again, we're starting from ground zero with a lot of these athletes. But, again, you're not alone. We're Central, South, all dealing with it as well, too. But, again, as we start to see these faces come on in to our programs and throughout the state of Wyoming, again, it just means that more and more attention is going to softball, which, again, does lead into whether it is Wyco or the Cheyenne Extreme or, again, the other summertime programs. It's got to be exciting that, again, it is truly growing year 3 now.
Yeah, it is. It's, you definitely, and I don't know firsthand knowledge about what the numbers are for like the rec programs other than what they're telling us, and that the teams they're getting more teams or more players coming out from the rec programs, which what we were hoping to see come out of all this. This kind of interesting this last summer, seeing all the girls that were kind of on our freshman JV type players that came out. All of a sudden we're out the fields and we're practicing for Extreme, and then you see all these girls, all of a sudden you're, hey coach, and you don't really realize it till you're there and you see them, and it's pretty cool to see them out actually incorporating the stuff that you taught them during the high school season into their rec ball program. So it's nice that you're making an impression and that they're understanding what you're trying to do, and they're trying to continue to do it during the summer. So it's pretty cool.
Coach, before we kind of look towards this upcoming season, which, again, is already underway, or at least attempting to get underway, again, obviously we've dealt with weather issues, but looking back to last year for Cheyenne East, 12-11 overall, 6-6 in the conference. Have failed to at least make to that state tournament. At least looking at the preseason polls very quickly as well, too. East right now sits at the 4th spot, according to the Wild Preps. But, again, last year, 12-11, 6-6, kind of in that mid-tier part of, again, a very tough Eastern Conference. Just give us a quick recap of what happened last season.
So last year, it was tough. We knew it was going to be tough going into the start of the season. I mean, for a good majority of that season, I had literally a freshman infield. So although the talent was there, it's still the maturity level of playing at a higher level. It's something that we had to help instill in them. I was hoping we could sneak out a couple wins here or there, to help us through. We knew we were going to finish strong, and which we did. Beating Central, beating Laramie at the end, and just barely missing the playoffs. Through the tiebreakers. So that was kind of our goal, was just to finish strong. But we had to find a way to get some more wins earlier. And then with Jalen Christensen being hurt for about 3 weeks during the middle of the season with a broken finger, I mean, that was our number one pitcher. So that kind of hurt too. It didn't get us she wasn't able to go, at her full potential. So I was pretty pleased the way we finished, though. We finished pretty strong. It got us really excited for this year. I knew we were going to have a good freshman class coming in this year, and we're pretty well rounded from senior to freshman class. So I'm pretty excited. I think we're going to be, pretty solid 1 through 12. Now we have legitimate players that we can bring in off the bench to get in time. Our pitchers don't, typically our pitchers are some of our better athletes, some of our better players. Now we can actually rest them when they need to rest, and and not have any worries, concerns about the players coming in, being able to get the job done. So pretty excited about this year.
You know, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And we talked with Coach Horsley yesterday with Rusty moving from the women's program over to the guys program. He won state championships there on the ladies' side. Finally got that state championship for boys basketball. You, with the Shine Extreme program, have had a lot of success, 18 and under program. Now you get that opportunity to coach at the high school level. What keeps you motivated? Is it that state championship on the high school side? I mean, again, Coach, I'm sure on your mantle you've got awards all over the place there, but is that something that keeps the juices flowing? I got to get that state championship for Cheyenne East.
Yeah. You know, it is. I'm not going to lie. You know, that's an ultimate goal is to get there. You know, one thing we always preach to our players is we don't preach winning. We don't preach losing. You know, we preach work ethic because the other stuff just comes with it. But yeah, you know, ultimately you want to see some of them results at the highest level.
But does this give you an extra challenge now?
Yeah.
Again, because like I said, you've had all the success with Extreme. Is this another thing to keep those juices flowing here on the high school side?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's you know, getting that high school state championship is definitely a goal. You know, and so it's something that I've stressed to the coaches, our coaching staff this year, that, you know, we're putting in the effort. We're putting in extra effort. We have a quality team. We have quality players this year. I believe we have a legitimate shot to be there at the end this year, you know, to be competing for that championship. And we just got to put the time in.
Coach, you got to love it that football, basketball, now softball all kind of finds the same situation again. We talked with Quigley. We talked with this with Barker. But, again, for us, for Cheyenne East, Central South, we all play in a heavy, talented Eastern Conference where, again, the West, nothing against them, but, again, Cody's kind of the top dog team over there. But the East is where it's at where, again, we got a lot of talented teams. Is that something you embrace the fact that, hey, we got to go out there and earn our victories here in the regular season? Or is it a little concern as we try to aim for that state championship that we're going to get kind of bumped and bruised, at least as we get it towards May?
Yeah, definitely a concern. I mean, there is literally no rest for us during the season, during our conference part of the season. You know, you got Thunder Basin, Campbell County, Central's probably, you know, they had a lot of seniors last year, but I'm sure they're going to reload this year. And you got a lot of those club ball players, the younger ones coming up that are going to mature. So there's no game. You can't, not that you want to take games off, but you literally got to go with your number one every conference game. Therefore, they're not allowed to take any rest out of circle. Fortunately for us this year, we're pretty deep in pitching, so that may help out. But yeah, we know we're going to have the shoulder injuries, the elbow injuries, the little soreness here and there in running, just because we're going to be playing hard and a higher level every week, every game. So it's a little tougher.
Coach, here we are, year 3, again, playing at the Cheyenne Junior League fields where, again, the city has been able to work with our teams, improve those facilities, add more and more as years go by. Asked a similar question to Quigley where Curtis kind of alluded that. I love it, but I want my own facility at Cheyenne South. East, again, a little landlocked, but there's opportunity to at least to shift some land and maybe put a facility there. But get your thoughts on, again, the improvement at the Cheyenne Junior League fields, and is there still a need or a want or a wish list for you, Coach, of I still want an East High facility?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, every school wants their own facility, somewhere where they can hang all their banners, somewhere where they can hang all their team memorabilia, all that kind of stuff that you say, that's my home, you know, and you're going to come into my home, you're going to have to come play hard, you know, and it's nice being at the junior league, but it's tough, you know. Our game, we practice on the east field over there, but we literally have to play our games on the south field because the way the east field's set up, the sun hits our outfield. You can't see the ball. You literally can't. So sometimes a little bit tough for us on practice to do outfield drills, you know. So we got to move over to our AAA field so the sun is not in our eyes, you know, every single batted ball out there or a pitch machine ball. So, yeah, you know, I was really hoping. I haven't heard any more talk about it. You know, they were supposed to be building a fourplex out there off the Story Boulevard. I haven't heard any more talk about that. So, and the more money they're putting into junior league, just makes you feel like the less chance that fourplex is going to happen. So, we'll deal with what we got, but most definitely love to have our own field and something to call home.
You know, Coach, when you've had the competitive portion of the program before high school, initiated girls fast pitch, you did a lot of indoor work. So again, this is not foreign to you, weather and all that. And you're sympathetic to the young ladies because you can't get much done in 30, 40 mile an hour winds and 30-degree temperatures. So you have the opportunity over at Cheyenne East, Thunderdome, the auxiliary gym, to get a lot of work done in there. What is basically your mode? Is it more? I think Coach Barker said footwork that they try to do in there. What do you try to do? Do you hit? Can you do infield? Can you do some fly balls to the gals from the outfield? How do you get that program operating indoors?
So for us, we're limited to anything that's in an infield type situation. We can't really do any outfield type skills and drills other than footwork. Tennis balls, softies, that type of stuff. We can't hit fly balls, and there's just not enough room. But honestly, we're able to get, as far as everything else, hitting, infield, we're able to get all those types of skills and drills done. I mean, we focus on a lot. Footwork is our primary thing. Every drill we have has cardio built into it. We're gearing up to the state tournament. When you're only playing a lot of single or doubleheader games, it's not like club ball where you go into a weekend and you're playing 5 or 6 games. Now you only play 1 or 2, so we got to focus more on that. But also, by the time you come to the state tournament, if you haven't focused on getting some of that cardio done to play those 4 or 5 games that you're going to have to play at the state tournament, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Once you get in that second day, are you going to be in the shape to get it done, to get the things done that you need to? So we focus on that too, but we're able to get pretty much everything done we need to. Is it preferred to be indoors? No. Always want to be outdoors or, be at some hitting cages or something. It's the atmosphere, it's a setting. The girls, when you're at a place like that, the girls have a different mindset. And when we're in the middle of a gym, you have to be their mindset for them to help keep them a little more focused.
When we talk with Ty Lane, especially, is they're now at spring training, so to speak, and
they're doing it down in northern Colorado now.
Yeah, where it's about 20 degrees warmer. But pitchers, when they get that call early in the season, they're on a pitch count and they go X amount of innings. I know that we're on time limits for women's fast pitch. Question is, do you allow that starter to go the distance, or do you have them early in the season because of weather, a couple 3 innings, try to give everybody some work? How does that work in your mind?
Well, fortunately for us, our pitchers, because they are club ball pitchers too, we're able to get a lot of winter work in. Right now our pitchers are throwing a minimum twice a week, sometimes 3 days a week, to be ready. So we get them prepared so that they're able to go a full game. The high school games actually, because of the conference we're in, we're literally going 7 full innings most of the time. They turn into, most games are about 2-hour games, which is typically for club ball, you're playing about an hour 15. So they got to be physically strong, mentally strong. And so our philosophy is, though, that we try to prepare them to be ready to go the full distance. If they can go, they go. And usually if we pull them out, it's because something's not working. Maybe they're just not having their best.
Are there restrictions to the pitchers in high school?
No, there's no restrictions at all. They can go as long and as often as a coach will put
till their arm falls off, right?
But as a coach, obviously as a coach, you got to be smart about that.
Right.
Coach, for this upcoming season where we look back to this winter work, and it was harsh. It was, again, we saw basketball have to get altered. Wrestling, all sorts of sports had to, again, alter and shift, move schedules around just due to the fact of cancellations or at least with, again, the snow conditions, which, again, we know here springtime in this state, it gets even worse. Again, those snows become even heavier out here. But I guess as we already saw, again, Invitational get moved. Again, hopefully will be played later on in April. We know that the Gillette games got shifted down from Gillette to here to Cheyenne. But I guess concern or I guess with the potential of, again, a tumultuous kind of schedule here in 2023, what does it do for you as a coach in trying to get your players prepared for, again, we're on a dime and within 24 hours, we may not have a game or we may have to change locations. I mean, what does that do for you and your team?
It's tough. And, you have to find ways when we're in this type of situation to keep the girls motivated, because you guys know, you guys have been around there long enough. It's hard to practice and practice and practice again. And at some point, they want to get on the field. They want to play. And so it's a mentally tough part of the game to keep them motivated. So as a coach, it's a little bit tougher on you. Now you got to, come up with some different skills, some different drills, some different game type situations that we do. Last night we were able to have an inter-squad game because we could just tell the girls were needing to do something, So we brought umpires out and everything, divided up the girls between the JV and varsity up pretty equal, and we're able to, we played for about an hour and a half, and it was a good thing for us. It was a good thing for them to get out there and really see where they truly were and are at this time, and the things we need to improve on, especially as coaches too. So that's the kind of things we have to do, to make it interesting for them.
Coach, in your opinion, again, this is year 3. We've had issues in the previous couple of years, but thankfully the Winners' last couple seasons have not been all that as rough compared to, again, what we're seeing here this year. But hopefully, again, season this year is not affected too mightily by the weather conditions. But I guess getting into the question of, again, for you, is springtime softball still feasible here in the state, or does there need to be a serious consideration of looking to shifting this to the fall, for instance, as Colorado does, as Nebraska and a few other states does, right? Again, have it in the fall time. Does Wyoming need to have a serious look into shifting this into the fall time?
We do. In my mind, yes. My personal opinion, we need to look at shifting it to the fall. I know that there's conflict. There's some possible conflict that they're concerned about interfering with volleyball, but a lot of the coaches around the state for the softball programs have talked. We've already been talking, and you start looking at your teams, and we're talking about literally one or two players per team that maybe come into effect for that. And if maybe even consider moving volleyball to the spring, like I believe Colorado has already done. Maybe not. I know they were talking about it, and because it's a natural progression for the girls to come off the summer and go right into their high school season. They're already been working hard, and the weather's good enough in the fall, and you really don't have the cancellation issues like we have in the spring. And where we're now, like the first year, we crammed 8 or 9 games into a 3-week period, and potential for this year is looking like the same thing. Where middle to end of April, we may be cramming a lot of games into it. It's a lot of wear and tear on the players, especially, like I said, as long as our games are. It's going to be tough. It's who's able to come out without the least amount of injury is probably going to be the best.
Adam, and that sounds great too, because you're so far down on the poll here as far as the suggestions with all the coaches. So again, athletic directors, board of directors, and now new leadership with the Wyoming High School Activities Association. Again, making sense with volleyball moving to springtime, and again too. That opens up camps because, again, there's summertime camps for volleyball. All this makes a lot of sense. How's the progression? How does it get to Trevor Wilson's desk to say, hey, you know what, this has been a good program, but it's going to be even better if we go this route?
Yeah. So I don't really understand the full process yet, and so as coaches, we've been talking amongst ourselves, and, as far as right now, all we can do is approach our ADs to let them know, hey, this is what we're looking at doing. We'd like to see happen, and what's the process to move this forward, and can you help us get there, And so a lot of the coaches, that's we're already talking about that, and I know a lot of us are already in communications with our ADs to see what we can make happen.
Well, year 3. Congratulations on that achievement for girls fast pitch. Looking forward to another successful season, whether it's East, Central, or South. So, again, Adam Galicia, head coach of the East High Lady Thunderbirds, join us here on 1480 K-Ray. We will be back after this break here on 1480 K-Ray.
Capital Lumber is number 1 in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number 1 today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service
all the way.
Since 1966, Cheyenne and Laramie County has depended on and trusted family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company for all your lumber and hardware needs at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne. For nearly 30 years, family-owned and operated Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, has been serving our community with quality and customer satisfaction. It's a pretty simple drill. When you want it done right the first time, call Lennox Auto Body for an appointment at 307-634-6608. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue. And the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean at 617 East Pershing Boulevard.
Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
John Mason here for Lincoln Way Liquor. The past few months have been great. Thank you, Cheyenne, for making us the fastest growing liquor store for 2020, 2021, and 2022. We really are different. You save 2% on all cash purchases. You get 2% credit for future purchases. You get free ice with purchases over $10. And we have the best deals in town. Please try the convenience of our modern fast food type drive-thru. That's Lincoln Way Liquor, 2801 East Lincoln Way, next door to Lincoln Way Pond.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Guadalajara at 1745 Del Range Boulevard. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes, with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Weather-wise for today, partly to mostly cloudy with a chance for rain and snow mix. Breezy conditions, expected daytime high near 45. For tonight, partly cloudy with a slight chance of snow during the evening hours. Breezy conditions are low down to 23. And for tomorrow, Thursday, mostly sunny. Look for a daytime high near 47. Well, we go from softball to baseball and, the World Championship Series.
The World Baseball Classic. I don't know where you're trying to go with that.
You know, whatever. Belongs to Japan. They defeat the U.S. 3-2. Ohtani striking out Trout.
Yeah.
Come on. That made for some good baseball water cooler conversation
I guess, but it's something that is the World Baseball Classic. And this has been talked about, again, very heavily this season, especially with the amount of injuries that have been, again, to big names that have kind of jeopardized the upcoming MLB season for, again, a few franchises, again, most notably with the New York Mets. But, you know, it's something that kind of brings up the conversation where, again, some of the players for, again, certain teams have kind of said, hey, this World Baseball Classic is bigger than the World Series. Is bigger than, you know, this or that. This is the pinnacle. We want to win this.
That's why,
and I get it.
That's why I kind of addressed it as.
And again,
such.
for like the Dominican Republic, for again Colombia, for Venezuela, whatever it may be, again, a lot of these countries, this is kind of their World Cup of again soccer, where again they love baseball, and obviously this is that world stage. and again, does represent their country as well, too. It's something that, is the World Baseball Classic bigger than the World Series? No. At least it may not be here in this country. And again, that's kind of the differential of that MLB, baseball originated here.
All right, but
and again, it's been a global effort. But I'm just saying it's something that I get where those players, those athletes are coming from. Again, whether it is Cuba, whether it is, again, from the Dominican Republic, from, again, a lot of these countries where, again, they want to gravitate to, again, their country's team that has a legitimate shot of winning this thing instead of, again, being a fan of, again, a pro team here within the States.
Think about this, though, Nick. FIFA. It is huge across the world. But in the U.S.,
It's growing. It's growing. And, again, MLS is starting to at least get some respect.
It's not. It's a once a weekend type of deal. Baseball is 7 days a week, and then the World Series is still huge. And what the major leagues have done too, expanding the playoffs, keeping our interest. More teams now getting an opportunity to get to the World Series. So baseball has kind of stayed the course, but also too has improved in certain areas.
And again, this World Baseball Classic, as much as for, again, Japan or, again, China or, again, a lot of those teams, again, they do have that actual local representation. But you look to, again, some teams, again, for instance, again, Great Britain that got a lot of flack this season, just more so for, again, the gaudy uniform that they wore that, again, was just pathetic. But, again, you see teams like Team Italy, Team Great Britain, where, again, they're pulling players from MLB. And, again, they all do, but it's more so they're pulling kind of just random folks to play for, again, Team Italy. I think one season, if I remember correctly, again, Brandon Nimmo was on Team Italy just because he's got a vowel in his name.
Well,
the guy's born and raised here in Cheyenne.
Here's the deal, too. The American team, U.S. team, and again, pulling players to play for various countries.
But that's where I think that's what I'm alluding to, where, again, World Baseball Classic, I don't hold it to the same height of a World Series where I get it for those countries. But, again, you look at some teams that competed in this where, again, you're pulling American-born players to play for Team Italy, Team Great Britain, which is a complete joke.
Same thing with the National Hockey League and the Winter Olympics. So-and-so go plays for Team Canada. No, I mean, they go and play for their...
That's a bad analogy because due to the fact, again, you look at those Olympics, you do have actual, again, Russians playing for Team Russia. You have actual Sweden's
but you also,
for Team Sweden.
If you look at the Avalanche roster, about half of that team would go play for the various countries that they are from.
I don't know what you're disconnecting here. I'm just saying, again, that you have American-born players. This is the difference. Again, understand this. I don't know what the disconnect is.
No, I understand what you're saying.
The NHL is sending those actual... Because, again, we are getting international players on the NHL that, again, are going back to Sweden, playing for Team Sweden, Finland, Russia. Or, again, they're pulling those players in within those countries' ranks to go play for those teams. Again, the World Baseball Classic, you saw it with Team Great Britain. You saw it with Team Italy. You see it with a few of these entities that, again, these players are not from that country. Probably maybe have visited, but, again, they're not from Great Britain. They're not from Italy, but they're still playing for that team. And it makes it a little bit hokey, a little bit of a joke, just due to the fact that, yes, again, Team Italy, again, you don't really know a whole hell of a lot about baseball being played within that country. Same with Great Britain.
However, the thing is, too, talking about injuries, again, in spring training, you start out, when you start playing spring training games, pitchers are going 2 innings, pitch counts, whatever the case may be. Your starters are going about 3 innings, and they're out running laps and doing whatever. The guys need at least a month of baseball, Arizona, baseball, Florida, to get in shape. What you're doing now is with the Team USA or with and again, I'm not saying they're professional athletes, don't get me wrong, but with the other teams that they join, the world teams, I don't think these guys are in 9-inning shape to be playing.
And we've talked about this in years past. Again, is spring training
I think so.
Is it a necessity for a lot of these athletes? Not really. Again, for Mike Trout, I think the guy is in shape. There's also, too, again, some of those international players that do, again, during the summertime, go down the respective countries and go and compete.
And
Again, we
some
do
of
have
those
the
guys
Caribbean,
play all
you do
year
have the
round.
Caribbean
Yeah.
Classic that does go on. So again, it's something that they do play year round. So again, they are in baseball shape. So again, the need for spring training, I understand. It seems like it's more of a cash grab for those states of Arizona and Phoenix, or at least for Florida, and again for a lot of those franchises that do bring in that at least additional revenue to those spring training sites. But again, for Mike Trout, for Shohei Ohtani, where again they got thrusted immediately into a high elevated competition level with this World Baseball Classic, and they all performed pretty damn well. So again, the need for spring training, similar to at least preseason football for the NFL, I get, but is it truly a necessity for pro athletes? Not really.
I think
Not
it is.
really.
I think it is, and I'm going to disagree with you. You can live in Arizona, you can live in Florida, and you can go to the various facilities and work out and stay in baseball shape.
Is the Diaz injury was that due to a lack of spring training? Or is it just a lack of pure stupidity on his behalf to celebrate after, getting that closeout? I think it was more on the latter of, celebrating and hopping up and down where his body just kind of collapsed on him. Again, is Diaz not in baseball-ready shape? No. Let's be honest. Every athlete that competed in that World Baseball Classic was in game-ready shape. And again, you just had the freak accident. So that's where, for the MLB fans right now, and again, there's concern on my end where, this World Baseball Classic, it does bring up the concern for some of those star players who get injured, as we've seen so far in this World Baseball Classic, that now alters MLB, which for us here in this country, which again, MLB is the show. It is the entity. The World Series is the game. It's something that the World Baseball Classic, at least in my eye, here as a U.S. citizen, it does seem like an unnecessary thing, or at least, again, it's not as, in my opinion,
not as prestigious.
It's not as prestigious as the World Series.
No.
But for other countries, I understand, but it's something that MLB needs to take a look at where for World Baseball Classic, do we look to how the Olympics did for NHL of years past, where, again, we look to bringing up collegiate players representing?
I think it'd be
and avoid the pros.
I think it'd be best. I really do.
It definitely would kill the audience and attention to the World Baseball Classic, is due to the fact that, again, you're not seeing a Mike Trout.
You're not seeing a
Shohei
Nick,
Ohtani.
because back in the 80s when we
I'm just saying,
when it was an Olympic sport, we had all collegians playing. We didn't have Major League Baseball players. Again, when baseball was an Olympic sport, this is where McGuire and stuff made their name back in the 84 Olympics and stuff. My point is, though, I think this is a perfect opportunity for college athletes to be a part of this team.
Minor leaguers, yeah.
But then again, or minor leaguers, because here's where we're at. We're in college baseball at that particular time.
Yeah.
We are playing college ball. So maybe you go with your double A, your single A, your rookies, whatever the case may be. I don't know. But again, Team USA, do you really care? Goldschmidt, Arenado, Mike Trout, wow. You get to see all those cats playing in July at the All-Star game, don't you?
Yeah.
In March, don't care. I really don't care.
Again, the World Baseball Classic, again, I get the hype around it, but again, it's something that
the hype is for the world.
Could I live without it? Yes. Again, yeah, the hype is definitely for the world, without a doubt. Could I live without it? Yeah. Would I have been excited if the Team USA beat Japan last night? No, not really. Didn't even follow this whole thing throughout the entire run because I didn't care. It was more so, how is spring training going for the Giants or whatever this or
exactly. As a matter of
season,
fact,
yeah.
I watched before Team USA started competing. I watched them against the Giants in spring training. You know what I cared about? I didn't care that Arenado was playing.
I cared the fact that the Giants beat them.
Yeah, I didn't care that Goldschmidt was playing. I cared how the Giants were playing. And that's all what was important to me. Hey, I got to see over at shortstop, Crawford. I wanted to see who's playing third base, who's catching. I didn't care about Team USA. And again, Team USA to me, I'll see those guys again, probably most of them in July when they're announced for the All-Star game.
Yeah, it's...
Like I said,
yeah. Can we do without the World Baseball Classic? Absolutely. At least here in this country, we have that kind of we have that kind of privilege to say that. But again, for other countries, I get. But let the other countries play, and again, avoid using the major league stars that again are paid buku bucks to compete for these teams that again a lot of folks invest season tickets in, or again this or that. So that's the only concern. The other news as well too. I don't know if you saw, but again, kind of the irony, or at least kind of. I wouldn't say irony, but again, kind of it was an interesting moment that Team Cuba competing as well too in this World Baseball Classic. They were competing in Florida near Miami. We've seen it before. It's happened before. But how about a Cuban player? Don't have his name here in front of me. At least player for Cuba defected while he was in Miami. Just said, "Hey, I'm out of Cuba." Again, thankfully, I'm out of Cuba. I'm here in the U.S. of A, and I'm going to defect. So. At least kind of an interesting story out of the World Baseball Classic that, again, you saw a player just say, hey, I went out of Cuba. Here's my opportunity. See ya. I'm in Miami.
Gee, are you shocked?
No, not really.
He didn't have to cross the border. He just said, hey, I'm here. I might as well just stay here.
Not as well. So, again, don't blame the guy, especially getting out of that rough situation that is down there in Cuba. So, again, just kind of an interesting factoid out of there. But, again, moving away from baseball, again, we're still in spring training upcoming. Again, we're 2 weeks away from the start of opening day. So, again, not much really to be said, again, as all the focus for baseball has been on the World Baseball Classic. So, again, Rockies, I mean, what can you say? They're going to probably be garbage.
You got to watch out for the Padres.
You got to watch out for them last year, yeah.
I know, but I think the Padres are the only ones that have really stepped up their game. The Dodgers kind of took a step back. The Giants, again, aside from getting rid of some of the dead weight, but they haven't really added much. The Giants are going to keep that Dodger mentality. We're going to beat you 2-1.
Yeah.
That's how the Giants are going to win this year.
Which, again, won them a couple World Series championships in the past with at least Sabian as a GM. So, again, we'll see how the NL West shapes up. Again, you got to imagine Arizona, Colorado, they're fighting for, again, who's going to be the worst. Giants might be that mid-tier team, might flirt with the Padres, kind of fight for 2. But, yeah, Dodgers should come away with the division. But we'll see what happens if any injuries do kind of at least amount to, again, either of those franchises for San Diego or for Los Angeles.
And I'm not jumping on the Padres bandwagon. I just actually think the Padres might be just a little bit better than the Dodgers this year. Might be.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm pulling for the Giants. I would hope they would pull it together, but
pitching suspect for both, or at least I think for Dodgers, and same with the Padres. Pitching's kind of.
I think the Giants as a team will probably hit about 230 this year. They just have nobody you can hit.
You said that last year, and again, you look at that team last year; they were doing all right hitting. Again, it was just more of bullpen was the big issue, and again, lack of.
And well, you got Duvall, so tell me how much more improvement they're going to be. Not that much.
Who knows? Anyways, moving away from baseball, as we need to talk about the other pros going on, especially as now.
I was going to say, how about your bracket?
Bracket, again, I don't care. It's already been busted early on. So, again, NCAA tournament, as much as that's thrilling to see, 16 seed get the one upset. Again, we saw Virginia go down, which, again, you just might as well just mark off Virginia every single year at this point. Mountain West really didn't fare all that well.
You got one left.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, outside of that, again, as we thought that Mountain West would be a little bit better representation this year, especially just the talent, Mountain West really hasn't fared that well.
Boise State and Utah State, they were first-round exits, but you got San Diego State, Sweet 16.
I think they end in the Sweet 16.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to go up against Alabama. Again, Alabama, is number one in their category.
There you go.
So Houston and Miami in the other bracket over here. I'm just trying to scooch on down. You got Texas, which is a number 2. I'm just trying to get my computer to work here. So you got Texas Xavier, and you got Creighton and Princeton. There's your.
And Princeton, your Cinderella-ish team.
Yeah.
Do they get past? Probably not.
I think they beat the Blue Jays.
Creighton's really good.
I know Creighton is. But then you look over here in the West. You got Arkansas, who upset Kansas, and UConn.
UConn probably better.
How about Florida Atlantic, a number 9, going up against number 4 Tennessee?
Tennessee is a better team.
And what else do you have over here? You got Kansas State and Michigan State, Gonzaga and UCLA.
Yeah, which again sets up, again, going back a couple seasons ago, the infamous last-second shot, three-pointer made by Gonzaga to at least, I wouldn't say shock, but again, it stopped UCLA for their long run where, again, I think UCLA, a 12 seed during a couple of seasons ago in the March Madness, again, at least that COVID time. So it kind of sets up a nice little rivalry there, or at least matchup in the postseason for those two teams. But, again, March Madness right now, never really had a dog in the fight.
Didn't care,
yeah. Again, my main concern right now, again, as, you know, for college basketball, yes, it's fun, and especially with the amount of upsets we've had. Again, it's been kind of up and down where I don't think right now there is a clear odds-on favorite. And obviously, people want to hand it to Alabama, but I really don't think there's a favorite right now to win that national title.
Yeah.
It is up for grabs for anyone. Again, I honestly, I think who I had for my bracket, I put Houston in to win it. But, again, got to give some love probably to Tennessee. Can't disrespect Gonzaga. They know how to get there. UCLA as well, too. There's a lot of teams that have potential to win that national championship. There's not that odds-on favorite right now.
We'll be down to 8 by the end of the weekend. We'll have a chance to talk about it next week. I do want to.
I want to move on to pro hoops again, where this has kind of been more my focus is as we're getting close to playoff time right now for both the NBA and NHL. Only a few games remaining in both of these leagues. Looking at Denver Nuggets again, have already clinched the Northwest at least division. So again, they are still your number one seed. They are playoff bound.
How far they go depends.
Yeah, again, we'll see right now. They're a healthy team, so we'll see. Denver Nuggets right now 48-24. They have a 3.5 game lead over the Memphis Grizzlies. Looking at again the top 6 right now, these are teams that are outside of the wild card, or at least again top within the Western Conference. Memphis number 2, Sacramento 3, Phoenix 4, LA Clippers 5, Golden State Warriors right now sitting in that 6th spot. Your wild card teams, or at least those play-in games, Oklahoma City Thunder, Dallas Mavericks, which is big-time surprise right there, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Utah Jazz. Who's on the outside still looking in, even though they're a half game behind, is the LA Lakers, just to make note of that. So, again, that's how it shapes up as, again, we're down to the nitty-gritty of, again, few games remaining for at least all teams in this league. Denver Nuggets still at the helm of that number 1 seed. Should be that number 1 seed unless some collapse or, again, Memphis
and
just
I'm glad you
off.
mentioned with the Warriors especially because, again, I'm always looking at home and away. And the Warriors have just been absolutely pitiful on the road.
They're one of the worst, yeah.
But at Chase, they're almost unbeatable. Same thing with the Denver Nuggets. You notice that with the Nuggets? At Ball Arena, they're just – you can't beat them. But on the road,
again,
they're kind of mortal.
There's only 2 teams in that top 6 right now that have winning records on the road. Clippers at 19-18, and then Sacramento at 22-14. Outside of that, again, Memphis is sub 500. Denver's at 500. Suns sub, and again, Golden State has one of the worst records on the road at 8-29. They're right there just above San Antonio and Houston having one of the worst, at least in the West. So, again, we've known that for basketball. Again, it's easier to win at your home court than it is on the road. So, is it surprising? Not really.
But here's what I'm driving at. When it comes down to the playoffs, and you have a team like the Warriors that are finally getting healthy, okay,
kind of up and down.
Well, yeah, but for the most part, the pieces are there. My deal is though with the Denver Nuggets, for them to be championship caliber, they are going to have to learn they've got to get at least somehow, some way, one on the road. They just can't roll over and play dead like they do on the road.
Yeah.
The Warriors know how to do that. The Warriors can go to Ball Arena in a 7-game series and at least get one game there. You know what, and I know it.
Yeah.
The Nuggets haven't tasted that yet. And that's what I'm saying. If the Denver Nuggets are going to be in that championship round, they got to find a way not to roll over and play dead when they go on the road.
I know if I'm with Nuggets right now, again, there are, even though you're in the number 1 seed, there is concern right now, especially with those play-in games of those wild card teams, especially with Mavericks right now. Again, it's close. Golden State only has a half-game lead over Oklahoma City and Dallas, and then a full game over Minnesota and Utah. So, again, there's still that potential to fluctuate, even with Clippers in front of them, 1 game above them. But if I'm Denver right now, again, I look at that bottom seeding right now. Do you want to face Dallas? Do you really want to face
The Lakers
Utah?
or Warriors?
Warriors. Again, you might have an easy time against Minnesota and Oklahoma City, but Dallas is a concern. Golden State, clearly a concern. Utah. And again, yeah, if the Lakers make it in, it is a concern as well, too. So, again, for Nuggets fans, yeah, you should be happy you're the number one seed, but don't think that, again, that one versus whatever matchup is a cakewalk. Yeah, again, you got some talented teams right at the bottom of the Western Conference.
And like I said, the Denver Nuggets going to have to learn they got to win on the road. They can't win everything at Ball Arena. Yeah, 7-game series, you're going to have home court advantage.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But we've seen teams still won at Ball.
If you play a team like the Warriors are going to find a way to win at Ball Arena.
Yeah, which they have in the past. They've done it many a time against the Nuggets, so we shall see. Moving away as we're getting close to the at least end of today's show. NHL as well, too, rounding out. Again, I think most teams have about 12 to 11 games remaining, so again, about midway through April, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. For the Western Conference right now, no team has qualified for the playoffs, even with, again, 11 or 10 games remaining for a lot of these schedules. Right now, who sits at the top of the Western Conference? Still your Vegas Golden Knights at 94 points. Behind them is the Dallas Stars, LA Kings. Avs at 88 points. Right now, they find themselves in the third spot. So, again, they are playoff bound. They avoid that at least kind of wild card situation, so they would be in that 2-3 matchup right now with the Minnesota Wild. Colorado has only played 69 games, so that does play a factor due to the fact that Minnesota has played 71 games. So, again, that's the point differential right there. So the Avs do have an option to at least vault over, again, Minnesota. Same with also the Dallas Stars, who have played 71 games. They are at 90 points. So, again, the Avs in a good position right now to potentially, if they have a good run here, be that number one team in the Central Division. So, and again, a healthy Avs team, a defending Cup team that is the Colorado Avalanche, pretty scary in the playoffs.
And you know what's interesting, too? They're getting there. But, I mean, we haven't seen a completely healthy Colorado Avalanche team on the ice.
And I don't think we will, at least coming up with the playoffs.
No, yeah, exactly. So they're not going to limp into the playoffs.
If they're healthy, they're scary. Right now, as it stands, they're beatable. They are beatable.
Yeah, they're a good team, and that's what we'll give them right now. They're not a dominant team. They're good.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't stray away from the fact that you could say dominant. Again, they've won 6 in a row right now. But again, it's been against kind of iffy teams.
If all pieces are put together for the Avalanche by playoffs, which we don't think is going to happen. But my point is, if you get all those pieces together, then they're a dominant team. When they are limping around a little bit, and that happens, every National Hockey League team is going through, no different than what the Avs are going through. But the Avs have something really to play for. They're the defending Stanley Cup champs.
Avs right now benefit from, again, the schedule that, again, is in front of them right now. We're getting the 6-game winning streak. Again, wins against the Coyotes, against the Canadiens, Maple Leafs, Senators, Red Wings, Blackhawks. They're majority of them are pretty bad teams that you should beat up on, whether it's home or the road. So that's where the Avs are benefiting from that. So, again, they find themselves in a good position to at least vault over Dallas, possibly. Same with Minnesota Wild. But, again, we'll see, as still a lot of hockey remaining. Also, too, if you've again, we posted this on the Facebook side, Coach Bednar signed for a 3-year extension. So, again, sticking around in Denver as expected he would, especially just building this franchise up and, again, eventually getting that Stanley Cup last season. So, no surprise that, again, Joe Sakic and company said, hey, we'll keep you on.
Yeah, and again, too, the nice thing about the Avalanche, and we'll say the same thing about the Nuggets, Kroenke's kind of staying out of the limelight. You notice that? They're letting the brass that they hired take care of the day-to-day operations.
Well, we knew that even with, again, looking at with the LA Rams situation where, again, they own that they kind of stepped away from that as much as the Rams are kind of up and down. But, yeah, no surprise that they would, again, let Joe Sakic and company at the top do their thing and, again, lead this team to the promised land, which, again, it got to that point. So, again, no surprise there. Very quickly, again, looking, as I mentioned, in the Western Conference, no teams have qualified. The only team that has qualified for the playoffs compared to the NBA ranks, where, again, you had a few Only one team has qualified for the playoffs. That's the Boston Bruins, who again sit at 113 points. They have only qualified for the playoffs. They have not won the President Cup. They have not won, again, a conference yet, or at least division yet. So, again, they still have a lot of work to do. But they're the only team right now, as we're down to the final few weeks of the NHL regular season. They're the only team that's qualified.
12 to 13 games left in the season.
But what I'm alluding to is that, again, tells you how tightly knit right now the NHL season is, that there's a lot of teams vying for not a whole lot of positioning right now in both the Eastern and Western Conference, especially in the West right now, where, again, only 3 teams have been eliminated. San Jose, Anaheim, and Chicago are the only 3 teams that have been eliminated.
But if you're the Boston Bruins, you got to like your chances that you're going to be home all through the playoffs, into that Stanley Cup round if you can get to the finals.
That President's Cup notion, as much as it paid dividends for, again, Tampa the recent years, but if you're a President Cup's team, again, having the best record in the regular season doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best team. We've seen those Tampa teams, we've seen those top-tier teams go down in the early round.
But
so
at least you have the home ice, so it's up to you whether you win or not.
Again, winning on road, at least on the road in the NHL, is a hell of a lot. It seems like it's a hell of a lot. I don't want to say easier, but it's more possible compared to, again, the NBA ranks is what we're seeing. So again, yeah, Boston, you're happy that you get the home ice advantage, but it still doesn't guarantee you a win. You got to earn it. You still got to earn it. So we'll see what shapes up, because Boston is clearly right now the front runner to win.
You're more in that comfort zone that, hey, you get that opportunity to, in a 7-game series, at least 4 of them are going to be on your ice.
Yeah.
So again, Boston's in the driver's seat. It's up to them to see how far
do
they go.
Teams in the playoffs still road wins all the time. Yeah, it happens, even with the top tier seed. So we'll see how things shape up. Again, Boston is the odds-on favorite right now, Stanley Cup favorite, along with, again, Vegas, along with Dallas. Even Colorado's been tossed up at the top. So there's Boston, I wouldn't say is the odds-on favorite, but again, they're getting a lot of heavy favoritism to win that cup. But
they're the top dog right now in the East.
It's wide open right now in the NHL. Not even just the East, but in the NHL of who could come away with a cup. It could be anyone. And again, you got to give that respect to Colorado as well too. That if they are healthy,
they're dangerous.
A dangerous team.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to wrap things up here with our program. Don't forget it re-airs at 4 o'clock this afternoon. If you missed out, we had Coach Carrie Barker on from Cheyenne Central, Coach Curtis Quigley from Cheyenne South, Adam Galicia joined us as we had a chance to talk fast pitch again at the high school level. So again, do join us for that. And again, Nick and myself having a chance to wrap a little bit. We'll be back Monday with K-Ray Reports, a week in review. So do join us for that beginning at 11 o'clock right here on 1480 K-Ray. So for Nick Proietti, I'm Larry Proietti. We now return to regular programming on 1480 K-Ray.